Number 2 underway Friday, January 16th, 8 a.m. right here on Jocks. I will keep the question going for the rest of the day. I'm going to continue to ask it. We'll get Ralph Russo's thoughts on it here in just a moment. Flu season here. Make your home healthier with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. Removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus. 100 times more effective than standard air filters. 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. Find a dealer near you at Trane.com. It's hard to stop a train. Ralph Russo joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Ralph, more difficult task to accomplish. Rushing for a touchdown, receiving for a touchdown, making a field goal in a game.
It's got to be catching a touchdown, receiving, because you're reliant on somebody to also get you the ball. So I would think it's got to be receive, and to do a difficult task in getting you the ball and throwing it properly. So, field goals, I mean, they're practically automatic these days. So I'm going to go with receiving a touchdown pass.
It's a good question. It's a good question, really. I mean, as long as you're not making a case on behalf of the kickers, it's a great question. But
yeah, I mean, you got to eliminate that, right? I mean,
yes, that one should be eliminated. I could teach any one of us to go out there and kick. Well, I couldn't teach, but someone could. To go out there and make a field goal if you gave me a couple weeks worth of work. But what do I know? Ralph, when you look at this national championship matchup and what we've witnessed with Indiana, is Indiana as good as we think? Like, the more I watch them, the more I'm like, golly, they're really, really, really good, and they don't have many weaknesses. But I'm also acknowledging that maybe we're a little bit of the prisoner of the moment here with what we've seen the last 2 games, and maybe there are a couple more holes. Like, I watch them against Iowa, and I watch them against Penn State. I watch them against Ohio State, and maybe they're not the unbeatable juggernaut that they currently feel like they are. So are we maybe being slightly misled?
So I don't think so, but it's all context here. I do think that we do this, we being sort of like people who like watch college football, analyze college football a lot, and that is we sort of judge really good teams against, in some ways, an ideal team that maybe never existed. So all of a sudden, like, instead of judging Indiana against the field or great teams, we're judging them against the greatest team of all time. And even great teams in the past, recent great teams. We've talked a lot. Greg, I talked to you literally about this a couple of weeks ago for a story. Right. Like this idea that the teams now generally at the top are not as stacked as they were during the great Alabama run with guys like Greg McElroy, or Georgia, and recently, and even that LSU team. Like, we're just not able to build these super teams anymore. So compared to those teams, maybe Indiana is not as good as they were, but they're not also facing any of those teams. The other thing too is I think we forget simply almost every team during their national championship run, like you bring up the Penn State game and the Iowa game. I think almost every team during their national championship run has a game or two where not really at their best, got to pull one out in the fourth quarter. Now, the Penn State game was really like a dramatic win. But I think even like, if I remember the great Miami team from 2001 or 2, I can't, whatever that really amazing team was, it had a game against BC, in the middle of the year where Ed Reed made this amazing play and they had to pull one out late. So I do think that we tend to microanalyze the results of a team in a particular year and forget that almost every championship team has 1 or 2 games where they need to make a little bit of a great escape, or they're not at their best and they play a little closer than maybe the spread thought they should.
Are we doing this due diligence, though, historically? Ralph Russo with us on the Higginbotham Hotline. And I know some of this is maybe hypothesizing that they win a national championship, but even if they don't, are we correctly, accurately putting this into context as to what's really happening under Curt Cignetti at Indiana?
Oh, so that's a slightly different question. So let's forget it. Are they the greatest team of all time? They will become, I believe, the first FBS team to ever get to 16-0. So that's more about accomplishments than greatness, right? They would be a unique and great accomplishment. And again, there's also this other aspect of the story and where they came from, and the fact, the thing I would goof around with my friend Ari Wasserman from On Three, because he would always talk about sort of program building and construction and how, and I would say, Ari, like the field isn't flat here. It's not like it's not like Indiana can wake up one day and say, you know what, we just want to be Ohio State, and bang, they're going to be Ohio State. There's all kinds of reasons that can't happen. And then one day it happens. Like, so for all those years that I was saying Indiana can't just wake up one day and be Ohio State, now we live in a world where Indiana can wake up one day and be Ohio State. So all the things that go into that, first of all, the amazing job that the administration has done, and the even more amazing job that Kurt Signetti has done in building this roster and coaching it so well, like all those things are unprecedented to a certain degree in college football. We can draw some comparisons to maybe what Bill Snyder did at Kansas State in the 90s, where that was one of the all-time worst programs, and all of a sudden he had them competing, in top tens and national championships and conference championships. But this is another level of turnaround that we've ever seen. So you're right, regardless of whether they win a national championship, if they win the national championship, it's maybe the greatest story we've ever seen in college football. That doesn't mean they're the greatest team, but it is an individual story that is just, like, again, has no parallel.
Is there a way for what they're doing to be replicated? That's what I keep going back to. Like, everyone's going to be studying their processes, what they do offensively and defensively. Eventually, these assistant coaches are going to get taken somewhere else, right? Because that's what happens when you have success. Your assistant coaches get opportunities, which is great. That's what you want. And they've had tremendous staff continuity for a while, and I would expect that to continue at least for another year or two. But at some point, Brian Haynes will be a head coach. But can what they've done be replicated at a blue blood? Because I look at their recruiting status, if you will, and while their portal class is more impressive this year than last year, it's not like they're bringing in a bunch of five-star guys and getting them to buy in. They're getting a bunch of guys that are kind of journeymen and veterans, and they fit what they do, but they're not necessarily the guys that everybody wants. So can it be replicated at a place like Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Auburn, other places?
So I don't know if you necessarily want to risk trying to replicate it. That's the problem. So, like, I've been kidding around with some folks about, we've stressed so much, or there's been so much talk about the no blue chippers, and when blue chippers, 4s and 5-star recruits, right? They just have very few blue chippers. And I find myself thinking there's a bunch of dum-dums out there who are going to go, yeah, that's the way to do it. Let's not get the 4s and 5-stars, and they're going to end up running their programs into the ditch. Like, I just don't think it's that easy, and I don't think it's necessarily the path to glory here. I think there's ways to replicate the idea, as you said, and as we had talked about a couple of weeks ago, fit maybe being more important these days because your competition isn't necessarily able to stack up 4s and 5-stars. I look at what's going on at Ohio State. They've had a whole bunch of portal losses. I'm not saying Ohio State is going to be 8-4 next year, but you're seeing what's happened to Alabama and Georgia, like the lack of depth. Maybe there's now they're thrusting more young guys in. They have to move some pieces around, volatility on rosters year to year. So I do think you can maybe try to think in a little more in terms of fit and getting old, right? A lot was made out of the fact that Indiana's an older roster. Now, some of that's going to go away. Now we have fewer COVID guys. But as we've seen with some of these lawsuits, like the guys are going to be hanging around college football. Forget even the lawsuits. Only 43 players entered the draft early this year. Juniors, like underclassmen, entered the draft.
Yeah, it's now up. I just saw this. I think Cole said it. It's like
63.
What, 55, Cole? 63.
But
it's still way low.
Half it. Yeah, I mean, it used to be easily over 100 for like about 4 or 5 years ago, and now we're barely getting into the 70s. So, like, this idea of building these older rosters, I think, is something that people should think about about as they're building. So I think you can replicate parts of it in a smart way, but I'm not sure you can replicate all of it. This does seem to be a little bit of a black swan moment where everything came together, because not only have they built a great roster, they coach it amazingly. And I just don't know if you can say we can do that. Hell, we're even going to find out, can they keep doing it, right? Or is this a moment in time where Indiana just peaks? I don't know. I just don't know if you're going to be able to do this every year to this extent.
Ralph Russo joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking national championship game Monday night. I'm just interested, you doing some research on this game, getting prepared to cover this game, watching these teams throughout the year and maybe more closely the last couple of weeks. What is your feel for this game Monday night as just how it goes based on any circumstances you want to throw in there? What you like schematically, what you think about the two coaches, what you know from a player perspective, just what's your feel on what we see Monday night from these two teams?
So on a very high, 30,000 foot level, I keep coming back to this. It's a team in Indiana that just never, ever beats itself. No penalties, almost no turnovers, right? So buttoned up, so proper. They just execute everything so well against a team that really, in the Ohio State game, that was the cleanest game Miami played, and really the game it needed to be most clean. And they won that game. But both the A&M and the Ole Miss games, they did a lot of Miami things, which is, hey, we're going to blow up this drive with a penalty. We're going to have a weird play call here that we don't execute and blow up this drive, and a couple of turnovers here and there. And I just, you saw what happened to Oregon, and it's just so hard to beat Indiana if you're going to undercut yourself even a little bit throughout a game. And I just that's it. I think that's still in Miami's DNA. More in terms of where I think Miami might be a really nice matchup for Indiana. If there's one team that can kind of neutralize Indiana's pass rush, I think it might be Miami, Cole. Their line has been great. They also get the ball out of Beck's hands pretty quickly. That's the one thing that Indiana's been so good about, even against teams that generally do well protecting their quarterback, right? Oregon never had problems protecting their quarterback until they played Indiana, and then twice they couldn't do it. Ohio State didn't have really all that big a deal, a whole bunch of problems protecting Sayin, and then they played Indiana and gave up 5 sacks. So I do wonder if Miami can crack the Indiana pass rush code, and that gives them a chance to stay in the game and a really competitive game. My guess is Indiana's going to win this game and cover. I don't necessarily think they're going to do what they did to Oregon, but again, if you get a turnover here and a turnover there, and all of a sudden it's 21-0 in the first half, that's definitely a result that's on the table.
That was my biggest fear, though. You hit it already. Is okay. If Miami can just avoid doing Miami things, I feel pretty good about them. The problem is, I don't know if they can avoid doing Miami things. Ohio State game was the one anomaly where it's all right, well, in that game too, they let them get away with whatever they wanted on the outside. The amount of flags that should have been called versus the amount of flags that were insane. So I actually love Miami if I knew for certain they could play a clean game. But do you think they can?
Again, I have some doubts. The other thing that the Ohio State game ended up being was a very low possession game, and that was really an Ohio State mistake in that game. I think if we want to point to one thing that was maybe a strategy mistake, allowing that game to be a 10 possession, 12 possession game was probably something Ohio State should have been more cognizant of trying to avoid. So that's part of it. Yeah, listen, I've been watching a lot of Miami this year. Even I go back to even their regular season finale at Pitt. I remember I went to cover that because obviously them getting in the playoff was still very much an open question. And even in that game, where eventually they sort of just overwhelmed Pitt because they played a really great game and they're so much better, they sort of let Pitt hang around early, right? I think they had an early turnover in the red zone that kept the game close, and they sort of botched the – again, my memory's a little foggy here, so if somebody wants to correct me, that's fine. But they ended up I think botching the end of the half a little bit, or maybe at the end of the half they actually executed. But the point being that they got to a point where you get to halftime and it's like 17-7 or 17-10, and you're like, boy, they probably should have had a couple more points there. And like, you just can't do that against Indiana. Or if you do, it would be the first time all year that we've seen Indiana sort of let a team off the hook, right? They very rarely let you off the hook.
Ralph, great stuff. Appreciate the time. Always enjoy visiting with you, and look forward to doing it again soon. Enjoy the game Monday.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You too.
All right, Ralph Russo joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Always great stuff from a historical perspective there on what this game is. He brought up some of the players. How will the breakdown look Monday night of individual players in this game as far as how they were recruited coming out of high school? In other words, Greg, look how star on Monday night. What will that be? We'll move to that topic in just a moment. But if you're looking to move out of your house, who should you call?
That'd be Crocker Moves. There's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home, and your whole home, packed up, move your company headquarters mid across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. They got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, when we come back, a breakdown of the level of talent, supposedly, allegedly, of these two teams competing for a national title on Monday. Next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We will break down the level of talent, allegedly, in this national championship game Monday here in just a moment. 800-239-9569. You want to get in, can text in 205-834-9450. More difficult task in football. We'll keep this going throughout the course of the day. And unfortunately, everybody has to immediately go context with this question. What is more?
Don't want context.
What is the more difficult task? Rushing for a touchdown in a game, catching a touchdown pass in a game, making a field goal in the game. Some people are saying with the game on the line, it's a field goal. Y'all watch Indiana, Penn State at the end? That felt easier?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Believe me. If you're soft mentally, then it's field goal.
Brandon Keel says statistically it's rushing touchdowns. John Burnett. If we're going to add some context here, let's go with John Burnett. All are less difficult than not giving up a sack the whole game to a good edge rusher that runs 4.3. I would say for a regular human, an edge rusher that runs a 5.3 would still be more difficult.
You think?
Yeah. Trevor, I think it depends on the scenario. But in my opinion, it's always rushing for a touchdown. Hardly ever have a 1v1 situation when rushing. If we're being totally honest, it's always blocking for those touchdowns that's the most difficult. God bless you, Trevor. Thank you for being alive today.
Yeah.
No one's denying that blocking is probably the hardest part of playing sport.
100%.
Except for playing quarterback, in which case
And
you're
receiver.
literally staring down the barrel of a loaded gun on every play with 11 bullets flying at you at all times. I'm sure it's real hard for you guys. Oh, I got to block this guy. It's going to be so hard. Yeah, try having guys trying to kill you on every snap.
It's so much so that the other professional sports don't even do it.
Are Aaron Donald and Lawrence Taylor just being nice to the guys in front of them before they get to the quarterback? They're just playing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Playing
you
friendly
have to
with
block
them.
A guy that's lined up a yard from you.
And Dominican Sue was like, "Let's take it easy on this guy, but by God, when we get to that quarterback,
Game on.
all bets are off."
You know what? I think it's best reflected because I think the left tackle is usually the highest paid guy on the team, or the left guard, or the center. Those guys are the highest paid guys on the team because what they do is clearly the hardest.
No, they're not. Not on any team.
Why are they not the highest paid guy on the team?
Because the quarterback is
the hardest.
Because the quarterback is
quarterback. Guaranteed money. Guaranteed money.
Why is the quarterback the highest paid?
Because Deshaun Watson.
Because he touches the football
because it's the
on
hardest
most plays.
Position to play in all of sports. It's the hardest. It's freaking hard.
Why does Shohei make more than any quarterback?
Because he's big internationally, and he's not making that much right now. He's making like $2 million. It's all deferred.
Well, if it's so
Jersey
difficult,
sales.
Greg, how did Phillip Rivers take 5 years off and come back and play?
Just rolled right back in there.
Name me a
Like
receiver
he never
that's
missed
done
a
that.
beat.
Yep. All right. You really think playing receivers hard?
Well, Greg Jennings ain't
That's
been
what you're
back since he
trying to
put the Green Bay Packers on his back.
Drew tweets in field goal.
Who?
Greg Jennings.
Field goal. He just says field goal.
But Phillip Rivers came back for 5 years. Hadn't touched the ball. Played an NFL
He
game.
looked great too. He looked fantastic.
Chandler goes. Hold on. Chandler goes full context here. He says within 10 yards receiving, within 20 yards rushing, anything past that field goal.
Within 20 yards, within 10 yards, I'm confused.
I am too.
Like outside 10 yards,
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I'm confused.
Let's spot the ball at your own 20. What's more difficult?
Wait, for the kick, are you spinning it or do you have a holder?
Well, if you're spotting at your own 20, kicking is the hardest.
Is gone.
Depends. You Jake Bates or not?
Yep.
Dan Strickland tweets
That's
in, being
the
a
hardest
kicker
one.
is a lot like being a goalie in soccer. It has a tendency to get exciting very quickly, and blame gets unfairly placed on you regardless of what happens before. I think some of that's fair. I don't know if that goes to anything as far as the difficulty conversation we're having.
No.
I think it depends on your mentals. If I told you right now that your livelihood depends on, or winning and losing a game depends on you hitting the fairway in golf, a lot of people are going to be a little nervous to pull that club back.
Chris Woodward
Lot
tweets
of
in,
people.
this is fantastic. The hardest thing to do in college football is watching your coach call 7 quarterback draws in a row and end up with no points. I think he meant sneaks, but we'll let it slide here. Because I will say,
think after the third
if
one.
you call 7 quote draws in a row, where you're essentially trying to elude the defenders into thinking it's a pass play and you run.
Yeah, after the
We're
third
fired.
one.
We're not fired on the tarmac. We're fired before we get to the locker room, OC.
Is your quarterback Nick Marshall?
You're done.
If it is, probably a good play.
It needs to be the Belldozer at Oklahoma if you're making that call.
Man, old Blake Bell.
Jeez.
Man, I heard that name in a
Draws,
long
7
time.
draws in a row. We got them right where we want them. They think we're throwing again. Tuck it and go.
Just go. Just
In
go.
fairness, Texas, like 6 games in a row, ran that little fake inside bubble on the first play of the game. Like 6 games in a row, didn't they do it? Like to Wingo on like the first play of the game.
Unreal.
So it can be done. Don't overthink it.
All right, we're going to go to the level of talent in this national championship game in a moment. But first, Greg, tell our listeners about Canty.
Well, Canty can fix it. You know that. They're the foundation specialists in our area that'll take great care of you. What I love so much is that there's so many things that can create problems with your foundation right now. In Alabama, it's a wonderful place to live, but the soil, the shifting, the uneven ground, moisture, weather, lots of things, even just the age of your home, all those things can contribute to foundation issues, which is why Canty Foundation Specialists can help. So if you're noticing moisture, musty smells, or wood rot in the crawl space, maybe you're noticing standing water around the foundation or in the basement, maybe you're noticing concrete sinking or uneven driveways, Canty Foundation Specialists, they offer free inspections and estimates so homeowners know exactly what's going on under their house. Their work is backed by lifetime transferable warranties, so call them today at 205-509-3991, or you can go online, Canty, C-A-N-T-E-Y, canfixit.com. That's Canty, canfixit.com.
All right, we'll get to that level of talent. We'll get to some of your calls. I'll see you on hold all next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I'm not going to read that tweet. I think it's entertaining, and Damien and I were talking about it during the break. I'm not doing that.
Not doing it? Can't
It'd
swing
make
it?
people mad. That's Thor tweets
Can't
into the
pull it
show.
off?
I could pull it off, but again, it's not for certain people. It wouldn't go over well. I didn't know we were tracking geographically who had dunked in games, and then that was a big deal when they actually check into said game. Not been in game and dunked, but just on record at some point in time, comes in off the bench, and that's newsworthy. That is next level. What are we doing? But Thor
I'm
Burt,
confused.
yeah, and just stay that way because I think it's better for everybody.
Yeah, it's best that you don't know.
Do you agree, Damien? Skip that.
It's
Just
crazy.
skip it.
Yes.
Okay. Thor tweets in, I respect kickers. I can't make an extra point. But if I have a choice and a team, I'm rushing to score behind my line. Last caller is the first person that made me want to ban kickers. First? You must not listen to this show very much.
Who needs them?
All right, let's go to Buddy in Birmingham. He wants to talk college football. Welcome into the show, Buddy.
Hey, good morning. First off, what conference is calling the game from an official standpoint?
You talking about Monday night?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that, Greg. Do you know?
I haven't heard.
I think it's Big 12.
Well, you only
Okay,
have,
and-
7 guesses? I like that you really threw that out there. Like it could be ACC.
Well, I saw something, but it was also through AI, so I'm not
Oh,
100% certain of it, but yes.
Okay. Because
Yeah, Vanderbilt,
my
Big
question-
12. Vanderbilt does a good job.
Wow, boom, roasted.
Well,
Yeah.
my question comes from that because if you get a crew that calls a game tight or they let the boys play, how does Indiana, if they let Miami play and all that stuff that Miami does, how does Indiana react to that? Because sometimes that stuff gets in your head. I would imagine. I didn't play at that level, but you see how people react, and next thing you know, it takes them out of their game. So, in your guys' opinion, how much does the officiating crew impact the game, and who do you think it favors if they're letting the boys play? Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. I think it's a fair call and a fair question. The context in which it's being driven, I don't think makes a massive difference in this game. One, if we're going to use what some of the people are trying to use against Indiana, is I guess it's not fair that they're playing. Two, they're an older team, so therefore, somebody telling them how hard they hit them after a play, I don't think it affects them as much. I think they're a mature team as well. Like we read off in Rubik's Cubic last week, their penalty numbers look like a military academy.
Right.
Like I mean, it's literally like Air Force, Army, Indiana, and then Navy's right after them. So I don't think that it affects them at all. Now, stylistically, does it affect this game much? I don't really think so either, Greg, because both these teams pretty physical. Like they both can bang. They're not going to get thrown off their game if somebody's hitting harder. I don't know if it's called a certain way where it would assist one of these two teams or the other.
No, I think that a game that is the officials are kind of swallowing their whistle a little bit, not really wanting to get involved, favors Miami. Indiana doesn't really make mistakes. Indiana doesn't really, outside of the Oregon game the first time around, I mean, they are really sound, and they had 6 false starts in that game. It's just a weird one, frankly. But that's the one outlier. The rest of the year, they seldom ever put themselves in difficult positions. So I think a game in which they're letting them play, Miami all day. Because Miami is prone to getting a little grabby in the back end. Miami is a little prone to, a little prone to making a mistake, maybe tugging a jersey a bit along the offensive line. Maybe the occasional late hit, which, does pop up from time to time. So, yeah. I mean, I think Miami, if the game is called and the officials are letting them go, I would think that Miami would get more of a benefit in that scenario.
But a ton? You think that's a massive?
No, I don't think
advantage?
it's massive. No,
Okay.
no, I don't think it's massive.
Yeah.
I do not think. And Vanderbilt, I've been with Vanderbilt a bunch. He's really good, like really, really good. Runs a clean game. I think we had him 2 or 3 times in the playoffs last year. We had him once in the playoffs this year. Like I've been around him quite a bit. He does a really, really good job. So I would anticipate it being called really fair. I would anticipate it being, if you have a penalty, he'll call it. But I also don't think, like, Indiana's one of those teams where you could kind of hold the receivers and it doesn't really matter. Like, they make plays anyways. Like, how often have we seen a DPI called on Elijah Surratt and he still catches the ball? Does it really matter? That's kind of how it goes.
Well, we've seen multiple plays where we talked about the individual plays. The ball looks like it goes through the DB at times. Like, that's how tight some of the windows are, and they still come up with catches, and Mendoza can still get them in there. So I think I hadn't thought much about that, but I do think it's an interesting question. I don't think that allowing a team to go further in overpowering Indiana is going to make that much difference. Now, we have talked about that D-line's been moved a little bit, and that's going to be a really interesting part of it. Can they continue to withstand it if it's a little bit more than what they've seen? But then on the flip side of that, how many points does that really bring Miami? That's what I don't know. I just don't think Miami's putting up 31 points in this game no matter what. So, and I think Indiana will find ways to score. How much? I don't know, but they're going to get in the end zone. They are. They're going to score. Might be 14, might be 28, might be 34, but they're going to score. I think that comes down to kind of maybe, Greg, what we're talking about. If they allow that aggressiveness to go and then maybe it crosses the line, you get a DB or two out because you're allowing it early, and you kind of have to make that call late. Maybe that's something that affects this game more so than we're talking about.
Could be. Yeah, I think that the big key for Miami is they cannot allow this game to become a track meet. Like against 100%. Ole Miss, you run like you can against Ole Miss because Ole Miss doesn't have the defensive depth. Like you're going to be able to score on them late. Like if you look at Indiana, they don't have a lot of defensive depth, but their defense also isn't on the field very much because their offense possesses the ball. If you look at Indiana, they're top 5 in time of possession. So they're going to score. And they're the most efficient offense in the country when it comes to third down, staying on schedule, staying in third and manageable. Their average third down line to gain is like 5.4 yards. It's like way better than everybody else in the country, which means they're great on first and second down to set up third down. So they're the most efficient team in the country. They're going to score. But you cannot let them get out of reach. And I think the big key for Miami is being great in the red zone. If you can force threes as opposed to sevens, that's enormous because they're going to move the ball. But if you're expected to score 28 to win, I don't like your chances.
I'll be with you there. Okay, we mentioned the level of talent in this game. What is the difference in it? Now, this is from when these players were recruited. So take that for what you will. Take that for what you believe it to be worth. On the surface, though, Greg, not necessarily talking stars out of high school, how different do you view the talent ceilings for both of these football teams?
I think the gap between ceiling and floor for Indiana is higher. But I think the ceiling for Miami with their best players is higher than that of Indiana's ceiling, collectively.
I agree with that. But if you're talking just the two teams against one another, though.
I think Miami has some liabilities. I don't think Indiana has any. Like, I think Indiana across the board, very, very solid.
Yes.
Tell me right now when you evaluate Indiana, Cole, what is the weakest link of their team?
I don't know the answer to it. I don't. I mean,
I'll tell you what
I don't know where you
distance field goals. And that's because their distance kicker that kicks it from 50 plus is hurt. Frankie, he's out. So he's doubtful. I don't even know if he's back or not. But, like, that's the only weakness on this team. Everything else is really, really good. Safeties, corners, D-line, linebackers. They don't have a ridiculous amount of depth. They can scale that depth. O-line's really good. I guess you could say maybe right tackle is occasionally a bit of an up and down performer. But, gosh, right guard left is really, really solid. They have 3 or 4 good wide receivers. They have 1 really good tight end. They have 2 or 3 good running backs. They have an elite quarterback. Like, they are really solid across the board. Miami has legitimate deficiencies in some certain spots. I think it starts at corner. I think they're okay at corner. I don't think they're great. I love their nickel, Keontae Scott. I think their safeties are good. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. But that's not necessarily a liability. I think their linebackers do a good job of being physical. I think Basaint is athletic and can run, but he's not the same level of awareness as what you might see against some of the top linebackers. I think their D-line's elite. So, like, I think their ceiling is crazy, but there are a couple holes there where you can go and get them.
All right, so when we come back on the other side, I'll give you what the star rankings of these rosters say. Does it change our opinion? Does it change your opinion? I'll give it to you. We'll respond to it next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Greg, what did you say in our previous segment you feel like the biggest weakness is for Indiana?
Long distance field goal kicking.
So you've answered our question of the day then. Field goal kicking would be the most difficult thing on the field since they have struggled with that the most, and that's the biggest problem.
Yep.
Okay. So take that question down off Twitter. We don't need that anymore. Cancel the calls. We're done with that.
There you go.
And, problem solved at 8:44, Friday, January 16th, right here on Jocks. Listen online, jocksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Also, watch live on YouTube every day. Search Jocks945 and just tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jocks skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. All you got to do is take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The deals are off the charts. That's why they're the largest GMC dealer in Alabama, because they offer the largest discounts and the best service. They're number one in the state. They're number one in the Southeast. They sold more GMCs than anyone in the Southeast region in the last year. They'll announce Dealer of the Year in March, and it's likely they'll get it again for the 6th year in a row. They've won it 8 times overall. They are professional grade. That's why you can go up and get a GMC Sierra 2500 Denali Ultimate. Beautiful vehicle, unbelievable vehicle. So nice, so luxurious, and yet the utility is off the charts. Like a $97,530 is what you pay elsewhere. You can take $12,000 off the sticker, get it for $85,500. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers, because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So take the short drive to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, so as we move ahead with the level of talent on these two teams, national championship game coming up Monday night. Greg will be on call for the radio broadcast of that, Miami, Indiana. When you look at the differential in recruiting, 3-star players, Indiana will have 53 on their roster. Miami will have 34 3-star players. 4-star players, Indiana will have 6 4-star recruits on their team. This is per Rivals, by the way. Miami will have 32 4-star players on their roster. 5-star players, Miami will have 5. Do we have an assumption, guess, or inkling of how many 5-star players that were recruited out of high school that the Indiana Hoosiers will have Monday night?
I'm going to say 0.
I'm going to say there's at least 1.
Okay. Greg would be right. There's not any.
Nah.
No.
Okay.
So 4 and 5-star players, Miami will have 37. Indiana will have 6.
Huh.
Does it do anything for your opinion of this game?
No.
Yeah, Indiana can't win. Got to have 5 stars. I mean, come
We've
on.
been told.
Like, well, obviously.
Been told that for a long time.
No.
I mean, come on. What are we trying? I mean, come on. This is obvious.
Man. Just watch them play.
Yeah,
Crazy,
it's-
right?
Just watch them play.
that unfortunately is part of it for a lot of how this goes. But it is interesting, Greg, because having this conversation, we are already getting more people coming in with the age of the team and how that is. I don't know, like what's the mindset?
Do you care about that?
I don't at all. No, I don't.
I don't either.
Kid Bama Kid tweets in, Indiana had 24-year-old players, grown men against kids. Are they off the team now?
No, they're
He
not.
said had.
No, they still got them.
Okay.
They still got them.
Unless Oregon and or Alabama had players that were prepubescent, I don't think it's kids, personally. I think those guys are all physically mature enough to play college football. So, yes, is it advantageous to be older? Of
Parker
course.
Brailsford played a lot of college football. Jeremy
Yeah.
Bernard played
Yeah.
a lot of
Good
college
bit.
football.
Good bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just Ty Simpson been around college football a long
For a
time?
while.
I feel like they had
Yep.
grown-ups.
Yep.
Okay.
Doesn't Miami have
Yeah,
that tight
and
end that's
guess
had a
what?
ninth year
Yep.
of eligibility?
He was done after last year, I believe.
Okay, well.
But Indiana's punter is 27. 4th oldest player in college football.
Long
So
distance or
take
short
that into
distance
account.
punter?
I think just singular distance.
He's all purpose. All purpose.
All
punter.
distance punter. The
Yes.
all distance punter. Got it. I don't know. Do we have an average age of Miami's football team? Like numerical age? I don't know that. I don't look at Miami's
Damien,
roster.
go ahead and get on that for us, will you?
I got you, brother.
I don't have Miami's. I don't look at the Miami roster and say it's a bunch of youngins. Be careful.
No.
And I didn't do that with Oregon's either.
No.
Oregon been pretty good
No,
in the
Carson
transfer
Beck,
portal.
not young.
Oregon been pretty good in the transfer portal last few years. Would you say, Greg, bringing guys in?
Yes, I'd say that's fair.
You go get Isaiah World out of Nevada. I mean, you've added some players that have been around college football for a pretty decent amount of time. So
Yes.
I'm just looking at the classification here down. I mean, Keontae Scott, 6-year redshirt senior. You have one of your starting linebackers, a graduate student.
Yep,
6-year
Mo
Mesidor, 6-year redshirt senior. I mean, I have to go look at their birthdays. C.J. Daniels, 6-year redshirt senior.
A lot of ball.
Jacoby Thomas, 5th-year senior.
A lot of ball.
These are guys that play, by the way. Carson Beck, Greg just mentioned him, 6-year redshirt senior. David Blay, 5th-year senior. And again, not guys that are sitting on the bench, not doing anything in this game. So I'm not going to buy it as a big advantage. I'm not. And you could have recruited your team that way if it hurts your feelings. I don't. That's the part that I get a little bit confused on. It's like in what way did Indiana snake the rules and do things that other people are not?
Well, I mean, it'd be the same. Like the people would also have frustrations if every team had a lion's share of the 5 stars. Oh, it's not fair. Like, oh, well, they don't have like everything. You can do anything you want nowadays. Like you can go out and pay players whatever you want. You can put together an all-star team. Like you can do all these things. There's no limitations. There's no hold up. You can go get as old as you want with the COVID year and eligibility challenges with JUCO players and all sorts of stuff. Like you can be as old as you want to be. Now you got to go get them. It's not the easiest thing in the world to go get the guys. Like you got to have deep pockets in some cases to go get guys. But in reality, like there's no rule against. There's also like it's the same thing we always talk about when it comes to stealing signals. Oh well, God, that's unfair. Why? Is there a rule against it?
Yeah, Greg, but
If
this
I
team,
look
not
over-
only is this team old, they are also on other teams' headsets. So they're stealing signals and they're
And-
old. Not
Oh,
many
yes,
teams
of
been able to
course.
pull
Yeah,
that
that's
off.
That's what
I
they've been
forgot
doing.
the conspiracy theory that they're hacking into the opponent's offensive and defensive.
Just the
game plans.
first
I
play,
forgot
though.
about
Just the first play of the game.
That's the only one.
They'll give them the first play, but after that, nah, time to lock in. It doesn't matter.
I think all three of us, John didn't play college football, but he would even attest to it here. I think the three of us could all agree very easily that being old doesn't make you good.
No,
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 be great if it did.
right.
I'd be a heck of a player right now.
I
Golly, I'd
I
be
wouldn't.
dialed.
I can tell you right now, I might get to the second play, but we're going to Andrews after at least 2. And I don't even know what for.
I feel
It
good
could be
about you.
Achilles, could be an ACL. I'm probably
Hamstring.
tear a quad off.
Right. Off the
First of
ball.
all, no one said you had to play offensive line.
Oh no, I'm in anything.
I think with your age right now and sneaky mobility and how you're like, I don't know, you have bird legs now
Flying any
and
weather.
you've lost all this weight. I think you're probably looking at like an X receiver, big physical X.
Well, it's a good thing Indiana's used to catch the ball in traffic because it's going to be a traffic jam when the ball comes my way. There will be no separation
Yeah.
from any DB.
No. No,
Unless-
no one said anything about separation.
Unless Wimp Sanderson's covering me, I don't think I'm going to be open.
Wow, I don't know why you got to bring Wimp into this. It feels wrong.
trying to paint the picture for folks of how slow I'd be moving.
But yeah, to your point though, like just because you're older doesn't mean anything. Malachi Tony's what, 16? He's still out there. He's the best athlete on the field.
TJ Finley threw more picks and touchdowns last year. He's old.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody getting mad at Georgia State for having 25-year-old quarterback, whatever it was.
Didn't make a difference.
Not fair. Like, why do we
I've been
do this?
killing
Like,
y'all. It's not fair.
we find this on teams late in the year that are good, and all of a sudden we get mad at it. It's like Auburn's basketball team last year. But
Oh,
they
man.
did 23 and a half. And
Right.
they're good. Still good.
Still good.
I mean, okay.
Nah.
But we want to get mad about this now. I need someone to explain why this enrages them.
Because it's easier to believe that they're cheating than they're actually good.
That.
And getting older
People
players is
aren't
cheating?
comfortable with Indiana being good.
Yeah.
It's the
more
same
that,
reason
yeah.
like when Auburn got good at basketball and Bama got good at basketball and all these football schools started getting good at basketball and it's like, well, what the heck? Well, that's not supposed to happen. Like, well, yeah, well, it can. Like, there's no rule saying you have to just major in one sport. You can do both. It's okay. And I think people struggle with that because it's like, well, what the heck? Why aren't we that way?
Yeah, it's. I just don't look at it as a huge advantage either way. I really don't. But what is an advantage is heading over to Bromberg's, Greg, with everything that they can do for you.
Yeah, and you might have gotten engaged in the holiday season. If so, congratulations. But now is the time. Wedding planning is starting. It's a fun time to be engaged. But one thing that you can take off your plate is the registry. You can do that pretty quickly by just going and seeing Bromberg's because putting your registry together is not easy. And the good news is when you work one-on-one with a Bromberg's experienced bridal consultant, they can help you select everything you need from china to crystal to silverware and casual pieces too. They've been around for 190 years in business, and you can start this new chapter with your significant other with the experts who know registries best. Plus, you can enjoy 20% off wedding bands and special pricing on wedding party gifts. So register online at brombergsbride.com or go in person to one of their 2 stores in Mountain Brook or at the Summit. It's Bromberg's.
Fernando Mendoza, older player, was great against Oregon. 5 touchdown passes, 4th player in college football playoff history with as many in a game. Can you name the other 3?
Joe Burrow.
Twice.
Yes.
I'm balling. Baker Mayfield?
Nope. You got him, Greg?
With 5
passing touchdowns in a college football playoff game.
I'm going to say Marcus Mariota 2014.
No.
Good guess, though. Tua?
No.
Nah.
Trevor?
No.
Trevor Lawrence.
Stetson Bennett.
2018.
No.
I'm talking about older players.
One is fairly easy. I think if you guys put more thought into it, you get it. Mac Jones.
Oh,
Just because that team was so dominant on that run. The other, it'd probably take us a while. Justin Fields.
Huh.
I just don't, that's not one that would have come out early for a lot of folks.
Against who?
Against who?
A bunch of youngins, obviously. Stanford Steve joins us next on Jocks.